Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
Today, we're here because it is Holy Thursday.
Which is a great day. You know, we start off with the Chrism Mass in the morning. You know, then Mass of the Lord's Supper in the evening.
Or we say one of the songs we haven't been singing forever. And then we pretend like we didn't do it until Easter again.
Yeah, but then, Mike.
Yeah.
But then.
Yeah. So, we all know what happens this night.
And if you don't know, welcome to the Catholic Church.
Welcome to Christianity. There's a few things you may want to know. I'm pretty sure that even the catechumens have been told this part by this point.
Please check out the videos over here. They might help you in getting ready for what is to come.
So in the course of this evening, first Judas becomes the first person to leave Mass early.
Don't be like that guy.
You know, he goes out and he brings back a mob. So he goes to the high priest, sees they got this all arranged. He gets a whole bunch of guards, clubs, all kinds of things. You know, we only know the name of one of the other guys with him, Malchus. Poor guy got his ear cut off, but then he got miraculously restored.
I mean, that guy's ear is a relic.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
And then it was reattached.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, but, so, the Lord even asked Judas, will you betray the Son of Man with a kiss? And he does.
The guy had lots of opportunities to say, you know what, I think I screwed up. This is a bad plan.
It is. It's a
bad plan stand.
Terrible, awful, rotten plan. But, so, Judas betrays Jesus very explicitly. He gets paid the 30 pieces of silver. But later, he feels bad about this. He recognizes, I don't know how he thought things were going to go, but he recognizes
they clearly didn't go the way he thought.
I have betrayed innocent blood. And he throws the money back. Of course, then the priests are like, well, we don't want that. That's blood money. We'll buy a field with it. So Judas regrets what he's done. And he goes off. And
he does some things.
He does harm to himself.
Yeah.
Depending on the biblical account, you know, his insides may or may not have spilled out, but there's hanging and he ends up dead.
I always assumed that he tried hanging himself near a cliff and the rope broke and,
Fell on some rocks, got cut open.
It's not a good
Yada,
end.
yada.
It's not what any of us envision for ourselves of a good death.
No, clearly he was not praying to St. Joseph.
But he wasn't the only one to betray Jesus that night. So the biblical accounts are very clear. Like sometimes preachers, they say, oh, all the apostles left Jesus but John. No, the scripture is very clear. They all left Jesus. John was just the only one who, when he came back, followed all the way to the foot of the cross. And so I don't mean that betrayal, when they all abandoned Jesus. But Peter and John come back, and they follow the Lord to the high priest's house. And John knows the guys, so he goes in. And Peter's out in the courtyard. And of course, he has an encounter. 3 encounters.
And a rooster.
And a rooster. And because everything that Jesus says is exactly what Jesus said would happen, happens. Before the cock crows, or in Mark, before the cock crows twice, Peter betrays him.
And he's got 3. He was given 3 chances to go and say, yeah, I know the guy. Or, yeah, that's my friend.
Well, surely you're one of them. I saw you with him. I didn't even know who you're talking about.
And every single time he deflects. In some cases, he outright refutes the suggestion.
I do not know the man.
But now we're going to talk about how he was different than Judas, because otherwise he would also be known as a baddie, and his symbol would be a rooster and not keys and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the difference is, so Peter, he wept bitterly. As soon as the cock crowed, Jesus looked at him. Peter recognized what he had done, and he wept bitterly.
And but he goes back to the upper room with all the other guys. Mm-hmm. And while it's not exactly specified in any way or suggested, I can't help but think, given that he wasn't the only one who was there, he wasn't the only one who knew what he did.
They all knew that at the moment when the moment had come, they'd all abandon Jesus. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, in all likelihood, at least John, who was also around, knew what had happened between him and the various servants of the high priest. Right? So it's not like, none of them were spotless, right? But people probably knew his spots as well, right? His extra spots, if you will.
Well,
but Judas, I mean, now in fairness to Judas, which is something he doesn't usually get, but I imagine he thought it would be impossible to go back to them.
think how lonely Judas was.
Because everybody knew what he did. They'd all been there. They'd all seen it.
And but he didn't have any association with his new friends. He felt that he'd thoroughly alienated his old friends.
But at the same time, Peter had to know that other people knew that he didn't stay with Jesus till the very end, like he said he would.
Mm-hmm.
But he still comes back.
And that's the key thing here. When we sin, and we all sin, and every sin is a betrayal of Jesus, the devil wants us off by ourselves. He wants us to feel isolated. He wants us to feel hopeless. He wants us, ideally, to destroy ourselves, to give in completely to despair.
Even if it's not in a permanent physical fashion like Judas, he wants your guilt and your knowledge of your sinfulness to destroy you.
Yeah, he wants you to completely engage with everything that you know is bad for you. Just give yourself over to it. But he wants you isolated from your family and your friends. He wants you alone where he can work on you. Whereas Peter, having openly betrayed the Lord, is always with the others. There's the famous scene back up in Galilee where they're fishing all night, haven't caught anything. The Lord appears on the beach. Tremendous haul. Peter is so impatient then to get to shore that he jumps off the boat and swims ashore, leaving the others to bring in the catch.
Which, I mean, maybe when John was writing to give a counterpoint of when he loses the race at Easter, he's like, well, I'll let people know he knows how to swim. So, he's got a special skill there.
I win on land. He might win in the water. Maybe.
So the bicycle is where it goes down.
The first Iron Man. And Peter is, then there's a threefold.
Do you love me more than these?
Oof. So, threefold denial, threefold forgiveness. He's told 3 times to tend the flock. To feed the sheep, to feed the lambs, to tend the sheep. So, not necessarily tonight, because hopefully, we're all in a good state for the Triduum, but whenever you've sinned, whenever you've betrayed yourself and betrayed Jesus, please don't be like Judas. Don't isolate yourself. Don't go off by yourself. Don't just focus on the harm that you've done. I have harmed innocent blood. Yes, you almost certainly have, but let the Lord love you. Let him forgive you. You'll weep, but he didn't die. He didn't willingly go to the cross. Although, that's not until tomorrow. But he didn't willingly go to the cross so that you could then destroy yourself, like Judas. He did it so that no matter what you've done, he could forgive you, like Peter. So the course of this night, both Judas and Peter even more so than the other apostles, are going to profoundly betray the Lord. Come back. Accept the Lord's mercy. Be like Peter. And pray that maybe somehow by the mercy of God, Judas will be there with us at the end.
And until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.